right, friends. Friends, let's gather around. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hine ma tov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayim, 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, yadada, yadada, yadada. Hine ma tov, yadada, yadada, yadada. Hine ma tov manayim, yadada, yadada, yadada. Hine ma tov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Welcome, friends, to a beautiful Shabbat. Welcome to our members. Welcome to our really little friends and their parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and everybody who's here to celebrate a joyous naming tonight. And wherever you're coming from, whatever you're carrying in, you're equally welcome here. In just a moment, we'll make our way into the sanctuary. Please feel free to finish the nosh you're noshing on. And then if you want another bite afterwards, that's okay too. We'll come back in to make Kiddush at the end of the service. This is a great opportunity to make sure that your cell phones or other beeping or booping devices are turned off. And as you come in, Susan Lustig, hello Susan, thank you for being here to greet us, is going to hand you a daf tefillah, a prayer sheet to follow along with certain parts of our service. And I think that's it. Let's go in and let's get started. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Hine ma tovu manayim, yadadai. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, yadalai, yadalai. Hine ma tov, yadalai, yadalai. Page 128. Ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Thank you, Susan. David, I'm going to give this one to you if you don't mind. Thank you so much. Please join us in this nigun, this wordless melody that is very hot. Stand back. How about just that? Ya-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ya-da-da-da. That repeats. Goes up a little. Welcome to those who just slipped in between the first singing and the second singing. There's going to be a lot more singing because we love to sing here at TVT. I see in the back Bill and Kate just back from their big adventure. Bill and Kate, would you like to come back up and light the Shabbat candles this evening? Sorry to put you on the spot. I guess you can't say no. Page 100, page 120. As they're coming up, I would invite those who have a small piece of paper to please stand up. We're going to read the names of the hostages. This is a tradition at TBT every single Friday night since last October 7th. Right before we light the candles, we share the names of the hostages, and we pray that a little bit of the light of Shabbat will be a good omen for their safe return. So please, friends, share those names at this time.
Elon ben Edith, Ariel ben Silvana, Avinathan ben Ditsa Tirtza, Bar Abraham ben Julia, Bipin Joshi, David ben Silvana, Idan ben Yael, Eitan Abraham ben Ephrat, Eitan ben Rut Edith, Elkanah ben Ruchama, Eviatar ben Gila, Gali ben Talia, Guy ben Merav, Itzik ben Chana.
Everyone is invited to please rise, if you're comfortable doing so, as we recite together this prayer for the redemption of the captives. Achenu v'achiotenu kol beit Yisrael, hanatunim b'tzara v'shivya, ha'omdim bein bayam uvein bayabasha, hamakom yirachem aleihem v'yotzi'em mitzara l'revacha, u'me'afela l'ora, u'mishiabud l'geula, hashta ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Together, our brothers and sisters, the whole house of Israel, who are in distress and captivity, who wander over sea and over land, may God have mercy on them and bring them from distress to comfort, from darkness to light, from slavery to redemption, now, swiftly, and soon. Amen ve'amen. From darkness to light, as we light these Shabbat candles and kindle the hope of our people. Feel free to have a seat, everybody. We're on page 120. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Kabbalat Shabbat begins on page 130. Lichu niranena. Let us raise our voices in this beautiful song. Ooh. Let's all try that together. Litzur Yishenu, Litzur Yishenu, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai Naria, Litzur Yishenu, Litzur Yishenu, Nekadma Fanav, Vetoda, Toda, Vizmiro, it's Narialo. Let's call and response. Nekadma Fanav, Vetoda, Vizmiro, Narialo. Lechu, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai Naria, Litzur Yishenu, Litzur Yishenu, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai Naria, Litzur Yishenu, Litzur Yishenu. Sing it out now. Nekad Mafanav, Vetoda, Vizmiro Narialo, Nekad Mafanav, Vetoda, Vizmiro Narialo. Top of page 131. This one keeps us paying attention because we actually sing line 2 and then line 1 in Psalm 96. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Sing unto God all the lands. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Sing a new song. Let your song be renewed. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. That repeats. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing and we'll all sing along. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru, let's hear you. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. Page 138, L'chadodi, the song of inviting Shabbat into our midst as a loved one whom we have not seen for some time. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela la 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 la. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Yishmianu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Let's hear your voices now. Lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 3, מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, ומצאי מתוך אפיך, רב לך שבת ומחבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך מילה, לה 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 לה. לך לקראת פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Toreri, kiva orech uri, shidaberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise and we face the entrance. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני המסולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני Shabbat, your last chance to welcome Shabbat. Lecha dodi, לקראת קלה, פני Shabbat נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני Shabbat נקבלה. Please have a seat, everybody, unless your name is Baby Lucy. Baby Lucy, do not have a seat. Come in your loving mom and dad's arms up to the bima, together with your grandparents. And I would also love Nora. If Nora wants to be a part of the service, she can come up too. That's up to her. Nothing better than giving a baby a name, which is just what we're here to do. What are we thinking? TBD? If you come up here, I have a special dino friend for you to hold. It's the Shabbat dino. One of the most sweet and truly inane of the Shabbat symbols. Come over here, everybody. And when you're speaking, please use this mic. It's nice and loud for you. Okay. You all have your handouts? Oh, I'm very impressed.
We've been studying.
Thank you.
Oh, but that's a prepared crew and a happy crew. It's lovely to see you here.
Thank you.
You bet. Natalie and Zachary, along with your other family members who are here. And is anybody joining on the stream tonight as well? You brought them all in person. It's the perfect counterpoint to the last time when everybody got sick. We're glad that you're well. We're very glad that you're well, and we're very glad to be welcoming a new child into the covenant, which is a really big deal and not something to take for granted in our day. So we begin, Barucha haba. Blessed is she who comes into the covenant. Blessed is this young one ready to receive her Hebrew name.
Today we bring our daughter before the house of Israel, so that we may bring her into the covenant which binds all Jews to God, in accordance with the custom of our people.
Good. Margaret and Michael, please.
We give her the gift of tradition, a history of strength and scholarship, of humor and quiet heroism, of the love of Torah and love of humanity. This child need never wonder who she is or where she belongs. She is firmly anchored in love, and her life is forever bound up with the life of her people. May we always help her to remember this.
Oh, sorry about that.
One more. First.
We give her the gift of
unconditional love.
This
This
child
child
will always know that her family cherishes her and values her not only for her achievements, but because she is a unique and beautiful human whose life we are privileged to share.
We give her the gift of education. We want to share our love of learning with Lucy and help her to appreciate the wonderful and fascinating world into which she has come. We also want her to learn of its cruelty and injustice, so that she will want to take part in the great task of our people to restore a broken world to wholeness.
We give her the gift of independence. Let our love and care for Lucy always be healthy and positive, never stifling or possessive. May we always strive to respect and appreciate her uniqueness and teach her to respect this in others. We give her the gift of a name.
Misha Beirach, Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'Yimotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, v'Yivarech et hanolad b'mazal tov, v'Yikaresh Shema b'Yisrael, Mir'ah bat Faiva v'Yisraela, B'schar zeh yigdaleha l'Torah l'chupa l'masim tovim, v'nomar Amen. Let the source of blessing who blessed our ancestors bless this little one with great mazal, and let her name be known. Hey, that's you. Let your name, oh, you are just so sweet, aren't you? Let your name be known in Israel as Mira, bat Faivel, v'Yisraela. In other words, Mira, daughter of mom and dad. May her parents find much joy in her. May her life bring blessings to her family, her friends, and to our entire people. May she always bring animation and joy into every life cycle moment. And mom and dad, you have a little piece here now. The Hebrew part?
And the English part as well.
And the English part if you want. Yeah,
Okay,
no problem. Should I read it with you?
We've been
Would that be better?
practicing.
Oh,
You can help us. We appreciate it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehanesha b'vitam shel Avraham v'Sarah. Thank you.
Blessed are you, our eternal God, whose presence fills creation. You make us holy with your mitzvot and call us to bring our daughter into the covenant of Abraham and Sarah.
Everyone? As she has entered the covenant, so may she be led to the study of Torah, the creation of Jewish family, and a life abundant in good deeds. Okay, so now's the question, is she going to come to Rabbi? What do you think? You want a hug, kiddo? Yeah? Oh, you sweet one. You know, it's you that we're making this. I'm used to it. Believe it or not, I just chased Levi around the house right before we came here with my glasses in his hand. So I'm used to it. So our blessing for you on this evening as you receive this new beautiful name is that you will have Torah, you will have learning and wisdom and the transmitted heritage of our people, that you will have chuppah, which is love throughout your life, many types of love, including one day the actual wedding canopy, God willing, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. And ma'asim tovim, which are good deeds, a cornerstone of Jewish life, our values, and the way that you want to live your life. Mom and Dad, do you want to say a word about her name, about the name that you have chosen?
I can say it. It's we chose her name in honor of my grandmother, who passed away a little into Nora's life, her sister's, but before Lucy was born. So her middle name is Priscilla, and then her Jewish name is after Priscilla's Jewish name, who passed away a little while ago. So that's who the name's in honor of.
And she carries those memories and that legacy and the curiosity, which is very befitting and appropriate and lovely. Mwah. Okay, I'm going to give you back to Mom and Dad now. We're going to have another 2 blessings, and then that's it. If you'd like, you can actually cover all 3 of you here with the talit. First, we have a kiddush. We raise the cup. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Dad and Mom can take a sip. And if you want, she can have a little sip too, but that's up to you. I think she said very quietly, Tannic. Very advanced. All right, the last thing is for you to get the blessing of our people. It's the oldest one we've got. Here we go. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you always, little sweet one. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God look upon you with grace. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha. Shalom. Shalom. May you get the biggest gift of all, which is the gift of peace, to participate in it and to create it. Yeah, and it's time to clap because you now got a new name. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yehelanu, yehelanu, yehelanu. Lecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Lecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Lecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Lecho Yisrael. Mazal Tov. Mazal Tov, and welcome to the Jewish people most formally. And in honor of that, we have a special certificate with your Hebrew name and the date that we did this, the first in the Hebrew month of Adar, a very special and happy Jewish month, and also a little onesie that probably, if it fits still, will fit right now, so try it tomorrow. All right, Mazel Tov, everybody. Congratulations. Oh, there's nothing to give us hope like welcoming a new child. You bet, buddy. So let's do that more. Let's do that more. Friends, the service continues now on page 146. Please rise for our call to worship. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Page 149. Let's read at the top of the page this blessing for creation. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shochbeinu u'vekumeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach v'divrei Toratcha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem negei yomam v'layla yomam v'layla ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 152. The skinny book is the page with the brackets. If you don't see the brackets, don't worry about it. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Now Lashevet, please be seated, everybody. Page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta abam v'shiftecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kishartam le'ot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'yisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 157, let's read together as we direct our hearts toward our freedom prayer. Top of the page, standing on the parted shores. We still believe. Page 158, Michamocha. וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. We're excited to welcome a guest musician, Noah Aronson, later this month, technically next month, but it's almost March. And so I've been teaching one of his melodies that's just so beautiful and singable, but I really need a partner to help with this. So Stu and Jody, could I put you on the spot? Would you mind? I didn't do it last week, so is it okay if I do it this week? Okay, it's true. But really you could and it would be okay, and I would survive. And Mando Man would step in. I don't know, we'll find out.
All right then.
It's at the top of page 161. There's two main parts, and it's quite simple and quite beautiful. And it just goes like this. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Can we all try that together? Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let's bring it down just a whole step. I think it'll be a little easier. Second part is like this, top of page 160. It's our beautiful Ashkivenu prayer. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkivenu leShalom. Let's all try it. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkivenu All right, so those are the two parts. You're singing them beautifully. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with Jody and Stu, and they're going to keep on singing the first part, and then I'm going to start singing the second part. And you have to sing one of the two parts. You can't choose no part, okay? You choose either one you want. Here we go. Let's get started with Let There Be Love.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
Pick that or sing with me. Ashkive.
Let there be love and understanding among us.
Ashkive.
Peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
One more time. Ashkive.
Let be love and understanding among us. That peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Together, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hapores Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Thank you so much, Jody and Stu. Thank you to all of you. I'd like to share a reflection as we lead into the Amidah, and as I read this, I invite you to think who you think wrote it. I sit beside the fire and think of all that I have seen, of meadow flowers and butterflies and summers that have been, of yellow leaves and gossamer in autumns that there were, with morning mist and silver run and wind upon my hair. I sit beside the fire and think of how the world will be when winter comes without a spring that I shall ever see. For still there are so many things that I have never seen. In every wood, in every spring, there is a different green. I sit beside the fire and think of people long ago and people who will see a world that I will never know. But all the while I sit and think of times that were before. I listen for returning feet and voices at the door. I invite you to please rise as we turn to page 164 for the Amidah, which we begin in one voice, and we take then a moment for silent prayer afterwards. Adonai, sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avod ve'imahot, Umevi Geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magin. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atarav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid Hashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei HaKol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, Umido melech, Melech meimit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Vene'eman atal hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh, B'shimcha kadosh, U'kidoshim b'chol yom yihallelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We take a few moments of silent prayer. Continue through to page 180 at your own pace, and have a seat when you're ready. Osei shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Osei shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Well, I truly do believe that the Jewish spiritual life is for every dimension of our experience. And that includes both the dvash, the honey, and the oketz, the sting, both the bitter and the sweet, both the beautiful baby and the sad times. And there's time for all of that within our service. I know that all of us are carrying a certain hurt in our hearts because the world is broken, because life is imperfect, because there is suffering and illness. And so we take a moment now to pause and think of those in need of healing in our own lives, in our own community, in our own families. I'll share the names that we know about here at Temple, and if you want to share somebody you're thinking of after that, you can go ahead and do so too. We think of Mark and Ellen Warner, David Sokoloff, Wendy Lee, Bruce Petroff, Paul Frisman, Kenneth Schachter, Vivian Liu, Leah Casorla, Paul Simon, Mark Lynette, Michael Campanelli, Stuart Katz, Hardy Schreiber, Nina Kessel, Phoebe Apgar, Diana Garabo Rosenberg, Steve Asnis, Ze'ev Ben Bluma, Jane Lesser, Al Masori, Stephen Bloom, Leslie McBain, Carol Robb, Mary Gregory, Randy Redkin, Thomas Alpert, Emily Belgard, Tom Salek, and Peter Livarikos. There are other names that we should add into our prayers, people we're thinking of for healing. Feel free to share their name, the community here. Anybody thinking of someone tonight? Connie Ambrosino. Ann Rosen, Steve Davis. Please. Jerry Greenberg. Others, friends? In the merit of our ancestors, Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu, we pray, God, that they find healing and comfort and respite and strength from life's travails. Please turn to your prayer sheet for Mishaberach. Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov. Mishaberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, ve'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer. Bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of our hope. May our hearts hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Mi sheberach avoteinu Avraham, Yitzchak veYaakov. Mi sheberach imoteinu Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our fathers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. When we gave a name to baby Lucy, I mentioned that tonight technically begins the first in the Hebrew month of Adar. There's a song about it. Misha, 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 Nichnas Adar. Means when Adar comes in, we are greatly joyful, we are happy. Why? Because it has the holiday of Purim. And Purim is about the joy of Jewish survival despite the odds. More on that later, but first a story or two. Apologies if you've already read the shofar, you might have already heard these stories. While I was teaching our JChat class last Sunday, a man I did not recognize came up to the front door of our synagogue. I went to greet him, and I saw his veteran cap. I learned that he was a disabled military veteran currently experiencing homelessness, and I hadn't seen him before, which is somewhat unusual because oftentimes the people who are experiencing chronic homelessness will come again and again. And I kind of know the people who are in town and who are passing through. But this guy was a new face to me. So I said, nice to meet you. I asked him a little bit about his story. And he told me that he had been getting by just fine until in the midst of everything going on in Washington, the VA had stopped mailing him his monthly check. And so he had run out of money for food. The same weekend, last weekend, I received a message from my brother. An unknown sender had emailed him demanding that within 48 hours, he reply to this email summarizing 5 things that he, quote, got done in the previous week. Around the same time, Elon Musk tweeted that ignoring this email would be tantamount to resignation. My brother, who has worked for the U.S. Justice Department since completing law school, was very fearful for his job, and with good reason. His boss had just been fired. Another story. My close friends, Mark and Zoe, they're my camp friends, and they live in Washington, D.C. Susan and I were lucky enough to spend some time with them over President's Day weekend. And with neither warning nor explanation, Mark, who is just one of the kindest human beings I know, you know that figure of speech would give you the shirt off his back. I think they actually made it for Mark. And Mark was fired from his job at USAID. His wife, Zoe, is a director of a women's health clinic in the District of Columbia. And she told me that she expects a substantial cut in her funding. This will obviously diminish her ability to have the full staffing that she needs and to care for women who have, in many cases, nowhere else to turn. I know you saw the images from the news. If, like me, you have a sadomasochistic tendency and keep watching the news, and you saw Elon Musk gleefully waving a chainsaw around a stage in midair. What was his message? That he was about to implement these cuts, these very severe, deep cuts that are part of rooting out systemic fraud and abuse in federal agencies. Of course, the first that got fired were the inspectors general. Lies, lies, lies. Repeated loudly and often, lies quickly become the truth. Meanwhile, those on the receiving end of that saw blade are not just corrupt bureaucrats. There are many nonpartisan, dedicated civil servants. Many of them have served under several different administrations. Perhaps you even have one in your friend or family. Does anybody know anybody who's a career civil servant in D.C.? Anybody know somebody who worked for the district? They've probably worked for more than one administration, Democrats, Republicans. They're inspectors and safety personnel, guaranteeing our aviation and nuclear security. They are scientists who save lives every day. They are social workers who care for our wounded veterans. These cuts so thoughtless and sweeping, hurt my friends, my family, my people. Our local veteran who came to the door of Temple Beth Tikvah. They harm the children who rely on the incomes of their parents. They harm so many countless others around the world who benefited from life-saving, democracy-building aid that increases our prestige, reputation, and power in the world. The savings financially will be small, but the suffering is vast. Some TBT members have already been impacted too directly. I've talked to some of you about it. I'm not going to name any names. But if you're affected, whether you're in here or you're listening on the stream or on the recording, I hope you will let me know about what's going on. I'm very eager to know how what's happening in Washington is impacting our families and what we might be able to do about it. I know that, like me, you are asking the question in your mind, how much of this will stick? How much will turn out to be legal when all is said and done? And the far more disturbing question, of course, that follows that, will it even matter if it's legal? Will it even matter if it's constitutional? Now, as Americans, we have a proud history of viewing the government with suspicion. It's part of our founding story. We sought refuge from the caprice of kings. In our lifetimes, Bill Clinton proclaimed, "The era of big government is over." Remember that? A Democrat doing that in the 90s. Before him, Reagan famously told us that, quote, "Government is the problem." What was the full quote? "Government won't solve your problems. Government is the problem," or something like this, right? But whatever political aisle we gravitate toward, whatever we believe about the policies of the government per se, it is incumbent on all of us, is it not, to respect our system of government. Our elected officials take an oath to uphold the Constitution. Their loyalty is to our republic, not to any one person. The Constitution's separation of powers and its checks and balances are specifically designed to prevent the monarchy that our founders were trying to escape and overcome with this new, great, beautiful American experiment. The system's brilliance lies in two things primarily, it seems to me. One, it's decentralization of power, right? There's not one person who gets to decide unilaterally anything about laws, orders, any civil service decisions, environment, military, any of it. And number two, the system requires tolerance of dissent. These are both so critical because we Americans hold a variety of views. We do not agree on every issue. But we do agree to be bound by the decisions that we make collectively, at least for now, even if we don't like them. We can overturn old laws, we can pass new laws, we can protest, we can engage in civil disobedience, we can even change the entire constitutional system itself. And the Constitution tells us how to do that. But what is happening right now? What is happening right now, by all evidence before us, is that there is a relatively small handful of people who are rapidly trying to change not our laws, but our entire system of government unconstitutionally. If this is true, and I very much hope that it is not, but if it is true and if it comes to pass, it poses obviously an existential danger to our country. It is wrong. It is obviously unconstitutional, unlawful, and history shows that when political chaos dominates, minorities lose, and guess who usually is at the top of the list of people who lose when there's political chaos in the world? You don't need me to show you the list of places we've been exiled, slaughtered, and kicked out of, right? It's us. It's Jews. Friends, do you know how long it took the Nazis to dismantle Germany's entire constitutional republic? Less than 2 months. Less than 2 months. Democratically elected. Historian Anne Applebaum teaches that when democracies fail, historically, it is generally because a democratically elected leader assaults the system of government itself. He commandeers agencies that serve the public. He demands fealty, and all those who refuse or all those who are not loyalists are removed. This consolidation of power is known in political science as state capture. It's how Orban rose to power in Hungary. It's how Erdogan rose to power in Turkey and Chavez in Venezuela. We could name other examples. It has happened on the right. It has happened on the left. Now, in the 1700s, our founders feared that a leader here might one day arise with the charisma and loyalty and tyranny to threaten our republic. Jefferson, Madison, if you read many of them and others, you'll read that they were inspired by the great philosopher John Locke. And the English philosopher John Locke in the 1600s wrote a treatise on government and then a second treatise on government. And in that second one, he writes that when a leader disregards a legal order, he gives up legitimacy. And when people, in that case, are justified in treating him as, quote, a thief and a robber. I quote from Locke, "Whosoever in authority exceeds the power given him by the law and makes use of the force he has under his command ceases in that to be a magistrate, and acting without authority may be opposed as any other man who by force invades the right of another." Now, some of you heard my sermon in the summer about George Washington. I was reading a little bit this summer about George Washington and getting inspired. The historian Stephen Knott writes that Washington could have been our first king, okay? And I won't bore you with all of the details of the story, of the Constitutional Army, but essentially, he could have nodded at the army at the end of the war, and they would have done whatever he wanted. He could have become a king. He could have gained a throne, just as countless leaders in Europe and throughout history have before. In fact, the king across the pond expressed shock and admiration that Washington did this because basically nobody in history had done this before. It was a testing moment for our young republic because it showed that actually no one person takes the mantle of full power. No one person is above the law. No one person may ever be king. Quote, "A lesser man might have been tempted to pave the way for despotism." As Jews, we have lived and died because of tyrants. There have been some very successful and flourishing Jewish societal moments in the past 2,000 years, but none have brought us the freedom, safety, prestige, wealth, power, all of it, as this American experiment. And it's that success that we have had that hangs in the balance. It's the fabric of our republic, friends, that hangs in the balance. This Purim story, which we're about to tell in 2 weeks, is a cautionary tale about the importance of action. It contains a story of a befuddled king manipulated by his crafty viceroy, and it's meant to show us how swiftly the tides can turn when we are not prepared or able to fight evil. I believe that it is our responsibility as patriots, as Jewish people, as champions of democracy, to actively oppose at this point, not just talk about, think about, to actively oppose every anti-democratic act that threatens our republic. You might say, how can I do that? Well, there are a few ways to start, and we'll talk more about this in weeks and months to come. The first thing you can do is call your members of Congress early and often about everything that is going wrong that you find challenging. I called Chris Murphy today, Senator Murphy's phone, and it was not even connecting. The voicemail box was full. There were so many people calling. I want us to fill those phone lines with phone calls, especially whenever your conscience dictates what's going on is odious to you. Absolutely. But especially if and when the administration defies a court order, okay? And this is something where I'm going to defer to our legal scholars here. And Ethan, I'm sure you and I will have a chat about this after the service. But what really is, the president can do a lot of things that are illegal or unconstitutional, and then lawsuits are filed and the courts have their say. What's really a problem is when a sitting president defies the order that a judge has issued against him. Because at that point, it is what people are calling a constitutional crisis. I don't know, Ethan, what you would call that. But whatever it is, it's obviously deeply troubling, because at that point, there's essentially no mechanism for the president to be held to account within the system of checks and balances in our constitutional system. Of course, there are other ways to hold politicians to account. One of them is by voting, and so it's crucial to protect our voting rights. We need help to keep elections free and fair, which is something that we can all volunteer to do locally. And we can, remember this one, oppose the SAVE Act, H.R. 22, if and when it comes up for a vote soon. This is a piece of legislation that's going to increase the requirements to an extreme degree of voter registration and identification and paperwork, to the extent that if it follows, the very next day, 69 million married women who change their last names will automatically be unregistered to vote, simply because of this law. And you can imagine what kind of chaos that would cause. So obviously, a thriving democracy requires easy access for all citizens of legal age to vote. And so we need to keep on working on that. And finally, of course, for now, there's much more to say. Support institutions that function as true checks on executive power. There's a robust civil society and journalistic establishment, as well as a lot of high-quality independent journalistic voices that we should continue to support actively. Our federal courts and judges, our elected officials. The institutions of our democracy go beyond just what the Constitution stipulates. They're all of civic society, including journalism, the media, arts, local groups. The best way we can get started with that is acting locally and supporting those voices that are helping to preserve democracy. Okay, more on that another time. Now, I do think that there are certain moments in all of our lifetimes when we will feel the weight of history deeply on our shoulders. As you can tell, I feel the weight of history right now very deeply on my shoulders. I feel that it is my responsibility not to be alarmist, but to raise the alarm because there is a real danger here. And I want to reiterate that good people may disagree on policy matters, but we should unite in protecting our democracy. I want you to hear that this message tonight is not a partisan message. I'm not upset with the president because of his party. It's actually, what the president is doing frequently has very little to do with his party. I mean, if you were to ask Ronald Reagan what he would have to say about Trump's meeting today with Zelensky in the White House and his supporting of a dictator and calling the democratic elected prime minister of his country being invaded by the dictator, a dictator, ask yourself, what would Reagan say about that? And the point is proven. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. I would be equally concerned if any president was taking such dangerous anti-democratic actions. Democratic, Republican, Independent, Martian, whatever. Until very recently, both parties supported USAID, both parties supported the VA, the EPA, which I just learned has been cut in its funding by 65%. At least that's what they say they are doing. That is catastrophic. Both parties supported vaccination and Medicaid. Until recently, both parties respected, in short, our democracy. But I don't care very much about which party stands for what right now. I care mostly that my son will grow up in a free country, you all. That's what I care about. I care about this experiment called American democracy continuing and thriving in the future. And this might be a moment that is a crux and a decision point for all of us to participate in that. So let's please work together, come together, organize together in coming days, weeks, and months to protect those freedoms we all cherish and upon which we all rely. Shabbat Shalom. Please turn to page 586 as we imagine a better world in Aleinu L'Shabeach, something important for us to visualize here today. Please rise. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, Lateit Gedula Liotzer Breshit, Shelo Asanu Kigoyei Ha'aratzot, Velo Samanu Kemishpechot Ha'adama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, Va'anachnu Koreim, Umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Amlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu, page 591, V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, Lamelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. Please have a seat, everyone. There's a poem by the great Chana Senish on page 595. And this moment of memory, I'm especially thinking, as I know we all are, of those hostages who were recently released and repatriated, but incredibly tragically not alive, including Yitzchak Elgarat, Tzachi Idan, Ohad Yachalomi, Shiri Bibas, and Shlomo Mansour this past week. Our hearts are with them and their families and our Israeli brothers and sisters, as well as the Jewish world, as our hearts are just riven with the tragedy of their deaths. Yesh kochavim she'oram magia arza rak ka'asher hem atzmam avdu ve'enam. Yesh anashim sheziv zichram me'ir ka'asher hem atzmam enam od betocheinu. Orot ela mavchikim becheshkat halayel. Hem shemarim la'adam et haderech. Together, their stars up above. So far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved, Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Our congregation is observing an unusually large number of yartzites this Shabbat, and if you are here to say Kaddish for a loved one passed away this time in years gone by, when I read their name, please feel free to rise and stay standing. Tonight we remember Gladys Altman, Mordechai Hans, Valmore T. Langevin, Irving Sobel, Estelle Meyer, Ian Ross Russell, Bernard Levitt, Muriel Lewis, Betty Langer, Eric Passeltiner, Arnold Fried, Irving Diamond, Milton Bernblum, Mary Kobrin, George Jacoby, Tadeusz Przystoyecki, Samuel Raflowitz, Ernest Bernstein, Max Katz, Neil Siskind, Martin Powell, Elaine Jacks, Louis Berkowitz, Marie Colosi, Helen Goodkin, Norma Rader, Annie Toback, Elizabeth Kaiser Rim, Harriet Spiegelman, Isaac Stoller, Leonard Barr, Melech Schwartz, William Goldberg, and Ruth Denberg. If there are others who are observing Kaddish for an immediate relative who has passed away within the past year or in years gone by at this season, I invite you to please rise and be recognized as mourners among our people. I invite everyone, please, to rise in solidarity with our mourners. Page 598, we recite these hallowed words. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'le'almei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace bring peace and harmony into our world and comfort to the hearts of all who are bereaved. Together we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Feel free to have a seat. Friends, Susan Lustig is here to greet us on behalf of our temple leadership. I've got your announcements right here, Susan.
Shabbat Shalom, and a warm welcome to guests and Lucy's family. It's so exciting, who are here with us tonight. I am Susan Lustig, the co-chair of Kol Ami. As I read these announcements, keep in mind that details and links are in your shofar and shofar blast. Join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Zoom only for mindfulness and meditation, Torah study led by Ira Weiss at 9 a.m. here at TBT with the Zoom option. Our current Sunday learning series is called Livrut, which means 2-hour health. This Sunday at 11 in the TBT community room, Donna Fettis will lead a session about the sandwich generation, the challenges of helping aging parents while being present in one's nuclear family as well. Voting for the World Zionist Congress begins in March, and it's important for all of you to help secure Israel's future. Please consult the poster in the lobby and check your inbox for how to do this. Purim is on March 13th. Rachel Polakar will be directing our Wicked-themed spiel, It's Not to Be Missed, and Salty's Purim Carnival will be on the 16th. And there's even more learning, music, and fun coming to TBT this month. We, in the March Shofar, there will be information about the Solidker music program. And I think, Rabbi, you mentioned it's Noah Aronson, who he's extremely like a high-end performer. So I tell your friends and other congregants to attend that. It should be wonderful. And Rabbi Moss will be holding a class called What is Judaism? And there will be 3 sessions of that on 3 different Sundays, right? Okay. Lastly, the Social Justice Committee wants to remind those with March birthdays to consider donating groceries and household items to our local food pantries. You may drop off items in the baskets located in the TBT vestibule. And I'm just putting in one plug for Kol Ami, since I am co-chair. We are hosting a yoga class on Sunday, March 23rd. It's for the women of TBT, but men are welcome to join us on that Sunday. So thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for being here to greet us and help us. Our closing song is going to be Ani Ve'ata, which is about our ability to make change when we do it together, page 652. An Israeli anthem that was written in a more hopeful age, but I guess songs from a hopeful age need to be there for a less hopeful age to remind us. We're on page 652, 652. Ani ve'ata neshane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata az yavohu kvar kulam. Amru et ze kodem lefanai ze lo mishaneh. Ani ve'ata neshane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata nenase me'hatchala. Yeh lanu ra, ein davar ze lo nora. Amru et ze kodem lefanai ze lo mishaneh. Ani ve'ata neshane et ha'olam. Et ha'olam. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Let's make Kiddush together and greet one another in the social hall. All right, friends. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho b'yava uv'ratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat lechaim.